Hello and welcome. Very good afternoon. You're watching The Big Story with me, Afrida Rahman Ali, and we are going to bring you some important updates that have come from the top court today, with the top court making certain observations, recognizing the fundamental rights of the farmers as also the rights of the other citizens. As thousands of farmers continue to relentlessly protest at the Delhi borders, Supreme Court today observed that the farmers do have a right to hold non-violent and peaceful protest. It went on to reiterate the fact that an impartial committee be set up to end the impasse over the three farm laws. Supreme Court's interim order comes at a time when the farmer unions have been alleging that forming a panel is not a solution for them. Amid the ongoing stir, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address farmers in Madhya Pradesh through a virtual meeting at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So those are the top developments. And in terms of the Supreme Court hearing, let's just bring to our viewers notice that the top court has allowed the farmers' protest to continue. That's an important update. However, it has said that there needs to be a relook at the manner and method and the location of the protest, since it cannot impinge upon the free movement of goods and services for the other citizens. It took up a plea on the farmers' agitation this afternoon, and this is the second day of hearing. While the Chief Justice of India said that the court recognized the farmers' right to protest against the farm laws, it was sympathetic to their cause. It provided that the protest, however, should not infringe upon the fundamental rights of others, referring to the fact that it should not cause hindrance to the free movement of essential supplies. The Apex Court also suggested the forming of an independent committee for negotiations between the farmers and the centre. Significantly, the CJI had also suggested that the centre should explore the possibility of holding the farm laws until such time that an amicable solution is worked out through discussion with the farmers. However, the centre turned down that suggestion almost immediately. Let me go across to Meenakshi joining us live. Meenakshi, like I said, some important suggestions made, certain solutions proposed, but most importantly, the fundamental rights on both sides have been spelled out very clearly. These are more observations, isn't it? More in the realm of suggestions and proposals. Any concrete orders? If you can take us through what are the matters under scrutiny and what's the top court intervention in those matters that it is considering today?
Well, Afrida, very quickly, some perspective for our viewers. You summarized it pretty well, all the major takeaways from the proceedings today. But what is emerging very clearly after the Supreme Court's hearing is this, that both sides cannot dig their heels deep and stick to their respective positions. The Supreme Court has given an impetus, or given a push rather, for talks to continue. Talks have to continue. That is the underlying message from the top court. And that was reflected when the Chief Justice of India made the observation that he has all empathy for the cause of the farmers. Farmers form the backbone of this country, but these protests cannot continue indefinitely, because the protests were started with a purpose. The purpose of these protests cannot be met if both sides decide to not conduct any further conversations or stick to their respective positions, to which, very importantly, the solicitor today also submitted before the Supreme Court on behalf of the Government of India that the government is not being adamant. In a way, he wanted to suggest that the farmers are showing stubbornness, to which the Chief Justice then said that the farmers could then go ahead and say that the government is being stubborn. So one clear message coming out, apart from all the other messages which you were referring to, about how these protests have to be non-violent, about how these protests have to be conducted in a peaceful manner. They cannot impinge on the rights of other citizens, and also the fact that these protests have to be conducted in a manner which really do not come in the way of right to freedom of movement of other citizens of this country, apart from the goods and essential services movement. The Chief Justice of India is underlining the message, which is very, very crucial, that the protests started with a purpose. The purpose cannot be met if both sides do not decide to have further negotiations, conversations or talks on the issue. So that's the underlying theme from the proceedings. The Supreme Court gives a push or provides an impetus for further discussions on this issue to continue. Of course, this will be an ongoing matter. Supreme Court allowing or issuing notices to all the farmers' unions and keeping the matter pending for it to be listed before a vacation bench when the Supreme Court is in recess 18th December onwards.
Right, absolutely. Meenakshi, thanks so much for giving us all the important updates. But of course, at this point, it looks like that the impasse continues. Even on the point of setting up of a panel, it's not as if the farmer leaders are agreeable to that. So we will have to see how they respond to all the different proposals that have come forward. And like Meenakshi said, the important thing is talks must continue, the negotiations must happen. But on whose terms and how, that remains to be seen. Thanks for joining us, Meenakshi. More breaking news coming in. Minutes after the Supreme Court called for an independent committee to be set up for negotiations between the centre and the farmers, farmer leader Satnam Singh Pannu of the Kisan Mazdoor Sangharsh Committee reacted, saying that they do not want a panel formed by the Supreme Court. Rather, they want that the PM should come and talk to them. So this is the new position taken by the Farmers Union after the proceedings in court. The Farmers Union have reacted to the observations made, saying that they are going to only talk to the PM. They do not want to have talks with a panel that is being proposed. So that is coming from one of the farmer leaders, Satnam Singh Pannu of the Kisan Mazdoor Sangharsh Committee.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कहना है कि किसान जो है वो तैयार हैं बातचीत के लिए, कमेटी बनानी चाहिए और कमेटी बात करे। हालांकि सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ये भी कहना है कि किसानों का प्रोटेस्ट जायज़ है। ब्लॉकेज पे बहुत सवाल उठाए गए कि किस तरीके से दिल्ली की जो पानी व्यवस्था है ये सब बंद हो चुकी है, फल सब्जियां नहीं आ रही हैं, लेकिन अंत में सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जो बातें चल के आ रही हैं कि किसान तैयार रहे बातचीत के लिए।
हाँ देखो, जो भी कह रहे केंद्र सरकार कह रही भी पानी की ब्लॉकेज हो रही है, होर परेशानी हो रही है, उसकी जिम्मेवार कौन है? जिम्मेवारी केंद्र की सरकार है। केंद्र की सरकार ने सानू रोकिया इत्थे, ਅਸੀਂ ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜਨਪਥ ਜਾਂ ਉਹ ਜਨਪਥ ਘੱਲ ਦੇਣ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜੰਤਰ ਮੰਤਰ ਘੱਲ ਦੇਣ, ਰਾਮਲੀਲਾ ਗਰਾਊਂਡ 'ਚ ਘੱਲ ਦੇਣ, ਕਿਤੇ ਘੱਲ ਦੇਣ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾਣ ਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਤਿਆਰ ਆ। ਇਹ ਰੋਕ ਕੇਂਦਰ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਬੈਠੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ। ਇਸ ਹੁਣ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪ ਹੀ PL ਪਵਾਈ ਆ, ਆਪ ਹੀ ਰਿਟ ਪਵਾਈ ਆ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਠਾਇਆ ਜਾਵੇ। ਤੇ ਜੋ ਸੁਪਰੀਮ ਕੋਰਟ ਜੋ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰੱਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਮਨਜ਼ੂਰ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਹੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੱਢੂਗੀ। ਉਹ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਇੱਕ ਲਮਕਾਊਗੀ। ਅਸਲ ਕੀ ਆ ਵੀ ਮੋਦੀ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਲਮਕਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਸੁਪਰੀਮ ਕੋਰਟ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਤੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਜੋ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਫੈਸਲਾ ਕਰੇਗੀ ਉਹ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਸੜਕਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਉੱਠੋ, ਇਹ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਮਨਜ਼ੂਰ ਨਹੀਂ। ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਖੁਦ ਅੱਗੇ ਆਏ, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਸੁਣੇ, ਡੈਮੋਕ੍ਰੇਸੀ ਦੀ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਸੁਣੇ, ਆਪ ਆਪਣੇ ਅਧੀਨ ਕੋਈ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਬਣਾਏ ਔਰ ਬਾਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਜਿੱਥੇ।
All right, so that's the latest reaction coming in. It's very clear. If I can just quickly summarize the points, the top court has said that the farmers have a democratic right to protest. Peaceful, non-violent protest can indeed continue as long as it does not create hindrance for the other citizens to access essential supplies. The location, the manner and the method of the protest will have to be now re-looked at, because clearly this is creating hindrance so far, and therefore this plea in court, which the Supreme Court is hearing. The CAA precedents, the top court says, cannot apply because this is a law and order situation. One suicide has already happened, so tempers are running high, passions can be inflamed. This can lead to a volatile situation, which the Supreme Court has clearly warned against, and thereby reiterating time and again that this is the time to step in. We cannot let situation spiral out of control. I'm going to introduce my guest this afternoon. I have with me, joining us here on Mirror now, Mr. Avik Saha, who is the convener of the Jai Kisan Andolan of the Farmers Wing of the Swaraj Abhiyan, and also Raman Malik, spokesperson of the BJP, joining us. Very good afternoon to the two of you, gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. Coming to you first, Mr. Avik Saha, the ball is in your court actually. It's now for the farmer leaders to decide how they want to take this forward. To take this kind of a hardball position again and say, no, we do not want even an independent panel, is it fair? Earlier you made it clear that a committee will not do. That was a proposal that came from centre. This time it's coming from the top court. The Supreme Court, in all its wisdom, believes that there should be an independent panel comprising of members from all the sides deliberating on this issue. Why are you rejecting that as well?
The Supreme Court in 2017 laid down two important judgments. One was regarding MSP, when it said that it's a government policy and the court does not have the power to implement it. In 2017, in the farmer suicide case, the Supreme Court gave the centre 4 weeks' time to come up with a policy to deal with the suicides and to stop them. It's 2020 December. We are still waiting for it. Do you think the farmers' organization are not tracking these developments, are not seeing how Supreme Court has been proactive in farmers' issues? So a committee suggestion by the Supreme Court is welcome. The Supreme Court is free to suggest what it feels. But the order today was none of the things that were discussed on this show. Supreme Court's order today is that we are not interfering in this matter. It'll be after the vacation. In the meanwhile, the petitioners have liberty to move the vacation court. The Supreme Court has not passed any order, and all the things that we are discussing were just back and forth between lawyers and the court in the course of the hearing. So, yes, there is no suggestion, no binding order, nothing from the Supreme Court as on today.
No, that is as of today. We are talking about how do we move forward. Raman Malik, you want to respond to that? And I also want to ask you that Centre has deployed all kinds of different strategies, including giving subsidy to sugarcane farmers to chip away segments of this union. But it is not really willing to talk to the farmers on the core issues that it has time and again brought out. Why is it that you're not able to convince the farmers so far that these are laws that in the long run will work to your advantage? Where exactly you think is the deadlock that this entire negotiation is still in a state of an impasse?
See, the point is the attitude which has been shown by Mr. Pannu today, that even though if it is a mere suggestion by the Honorable Supreme Court, that something like this could be worked out for creating a solution to this impasse. The mindset is that no, it is my way or the highway. And this is created by the chameleons who are there in this, who have hijacked the protest per se. The chameleons who can become good lawyers, apologists, or let's say lawmaker, or a politician, or a Kisan Neta, all in one go in the same studio they can. So these people who are basically hijacked this protest are one angle to it. The second angle is obviously the politics behind it. But the most important thing is, and which I very responsibly say today, all these Maoists who have hijacked the protest, all these anti-India elements who have hijacked this protest, they are the ones who are responsible.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Raman Malik, this is very convenient. You cannot paint everyone in the same brush. Earlier, the government representative said some elements are there. Now you are saying all of them are Maoists. Is that a fair position to take?
Please. You gave ample time to Avik Saji.
No, please be fair in your observations.
No,
you can't say all
please
of
do
them.
not.
Yes.
If you have a question, please ask me once I finish my statement. I am saying very responsibly that some elements who have taken over, who have hijacked this protest for their vested interests, who are basically chameleons, they must be held responsible not just for the disturbance to Delhi or the disturbance to nation, also for the death of the farmers who are there. They are the ones who are responsible. Because if the protesters, or let's say the people who are making this protest happen, who are engineering, who are designing this protest, should be held responsible for the safeing of all those people who are coming to protest. It is their responsibility at the end of the day. It is not the responsibility of anybody else except those organizations who are making this protest happen, who are guiding this. Do you think that I am talking illogical when I say this? Second point,
Absolutely.
If the Punjab government, I don't answer to chameleon, sir. Wait. You are nothing else than a representative of a chameleon. My point here is, Mr.
Please be civil and don't make personal attacks. At least that much I can request you, Mr. Malik. Complete your point.
Word I can use.
Mr. Chief Minister of Punjab, Captain Arminder Singh, has passed this law. I do not know whether Avik Shah is either playing selective amnesia to this or is unaware of it. This is known as the Punjab Agriculture Produce Marketing Law. Point number 8 clearly says that in Punjab, these are the places where private mandis cannot come. Rest of the places, private mandis can come. It clearly says, after the committee passes an order, even the court orders are not binding. They have never protested in 14 years. Why are they protesting now? Because there is remote controlled operation.
Yes, okay, let me put that question. Okay. Avik Saha, talks did not work, written proposals don't work, written assurances by the central government doesn't work for you. What would work? I mean, why do you have this kind of a mistrust with a duly elected government at the center, when the center is saying that government mandis will remain? We are only strengthening this network by bringing in private players. Why do you have such a level of distrust? Or is it like Raman Malik says, limited people with vested interest have hijacked this agitation, and that is why you have taken this my way or highway position?
Sridharji, your audience needs truth and clarity, not rhetoric. So who's a cockroach, who's a Ghuspaid, who's a chameleon are not subject matters of the debate. The facts are very, very simple. This government claims to have passed a law for the welfare of the farmers, and they start the journey through an ordinance. And it also says that these are long-term systemic changes. Nowhere in the democratic world will a government do long-term systematic changes without consulting the stakeholders. That's where the beginning of the distrust comes from. The second, the way the law was pushed through in Rajya Sabha leaves farmers dismayed. The farmers have given due notice to the government about this protest, have asked for a protest site in writing, and the government from 2nd of November has been trying to stall this protest. The latest effort is to hide behind the Supreme Court. This will not work. Farmers from Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, many BJP-ruled states are involved in this protest. So to ask me to explain the conduct of the Punjab Chief Minister is another attempt.
I'm afraid, why do you say hide behind the Supreme Court? Again, is that a fair point? Because the top court is intervening in the matter of public inconvenience. It is intervening in the matter of access to essential supplies. How does that amount to... Okay, Raman Malik, quickly respond and then I need to close the discussion.
Between the law and order position and the constitution.
In this case, and Harish Salve appears for who we all know. So we know who the actual petitioner is.
You are questioning the credential of Harish Salve. And what about Yogendra Yadav?
I'm telling you,
last 40 years, 30 years.
Mr. Malik, you know nothing. I am saying that we
you
know his
know nothing, Mr. Salve. You are
okay, I'm afraid the impasse and the deadlock is visible everywhere. Any discussion that I have had so far on the channel as well, there seems to be no level of trying to understand the other person, or there is constant collision course that is happening, and it's at all levels, unfortunately. We just hope that some intervention by the top court works out an amicable solution, an acceptable solution for both sides. Thanks for joining us, Raman Malik and Avik Saha, with your views this afternoon.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कहना है कि किसान जो है वो तैयार हैं बातचीत के लिए, कमेटी बनानी चाहिए और कमेटी
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने हमने क्या रास्ता बंद कर रखा, चल रहा रास्ता तो बंद करते ही नहीं हम कभी भी भाई। रास्ता तो बंद पुलिस करे है, बैरिकेटिंग क्या भारतीय किसान यूनियन लिख के रास्ता रोक रखा, हमने रास्ता जाम कर रखा। दिल्ली पुलिस लिख रही, उत्तर प्रदेश पुलिस लिख रही, पुलिस रोक के रास्ता, तो हम तो नहीं रोकते।